2, 1.
Now let me hear you say, now tell 'em I'm unashamed. I'm unashamed. I'm unashamed. I'm unashamed.
All right, focus. Hello, my name is Robbie. On here, I am Templar Knight. Every person who believes in God but does not attend a church has a story why. But whenever 2 or more people gather in God's name, He is there. So this is church. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. Romans 1:16. For I am unashamed of the gospel, because it is the power of God that brings salvation to everyone who believes. Have you guys ever been in a place where you just didn't want to be? I mean, just somewhere you weren't quite sure you fit in or you belonged. And I was thinking about that because when I grew up, I know this may be hard to believe, but I was kind of socially awkward and I didn't really fit in anywhere. And so I often felt like if there were too many people around, that's not where I was supposed to be because I didn't fit in with people. I was a small group kind of person. And so I always had to pretend to be this big, outgoing, excited person, and it just wore me down. And I never wanted to be there, and I always wanted to leave, but I was friends with, the cool guys. Well, not really friends, but I would be around them, and they wanted to go to these things, and if I wanted to be with the cool guys, that's where I had to go. And despite how much I felt like I didn't belong there, because they were there, I felt like my presence was tolerated. Now, mind you, this is probably all 100% in my head. I'm willing to bet nobody cared that I was there, but I always felt out of place. I just felt like this is not the place I'm supposed to be, and it was kind of a struggle. It was something I really had a problem dealing with. And as I grew up, it didn't change. You go through school and you lose friends, you gain new friends, but you still find yourself in places where you just don't want to be. Whether it's an actual, stuck at the DMV waiting to renew your license plate or, something going on with your life. You've got friends in your life that aren't really friends and they're bad for you. You've got a job that is just breaking you down and you want to get away, but it's where you're at. You've got some problems in your mind. You're sad, you're upset, and you don't want to be there. You want to be happy. You want joy. You want fulfillment. But you're stuck here. And you don't know how to get out. Something I don't talk about too often because the past is the past, but I went through a time when I struggled with depression. Sometimes I worry I still do, and I'm just really good at faking it that I don't. Sometimes my head's in a place and it's not where I want it to be. I want joy. I want happiness. I want to feel good inside. And despite all you can do, money doesn't buy happiness. Video games don't bring you joy. They may buy distractions. They may fill the time. But sometimes you're just broken inside. And I always felt that That's not allowed. I'm supposed to be the happy, cheery guy, put on a show, entertain everyone. So you put on the show, you put on a mask, and you be happy, because that's what everyone wants. But behind that, you're stuck in a place where you don't want to be. And I always struggled with that because I'm supposed to be that good Christian guy, the spiritual leader, the guy who's got it all figured out and all together. I shouldn't struggle with this. And it took me reading the Bible to find out that I'm not alone. Because when I started reading, using the website and some guidance to find the questions I needed answers, I found out that depression was a very real thing. The prophet Elijah, he suffered from depression. He actually said, it's quoted in the Bible, it says, "Lord, I have had enough. Please take my life." Because as a Christian, he knows he can't take care of it himself. He knows that's against the rules. But he's ready to be done. Moses, Samson, Saul, Judah, even King David suffered from depression. You all know how much King David means in this group. We did a study on him and it was awesome. And I went back and I watched the video when we talked about when David was struggling with his depression. And if I thought it wasn't okay for me, these guys show me that it's okay to not always be okay. But they also showed me the way out. See, my problem is that when I am down, I'm alone. Not around. There could be people all over, people in chat rooms, people nearby. But in my head, I'm by myself. Because apparently the devil and the sin he puts in my life, they found a way to convince me that I don't belong. They found a way for me to isolate myself so that they can try and break me. And I need to get over that. And I need to accept that I'm not alone. Even though I'm here by myself hiding behind a mask, there are people around that care. And if they knew what was going on, they would care even more. See, we're never really alone. We just convince ourselves that we are. And I'll admit, some days are worse than others. Some days we just have a bad day. Something happens wrong at work, something's messing with you at home, having struggles with the family or friends. Sometimes things just get bad. But how bad can it really be? So I was reading a story in the Bible today, and it caught my attention. So 300 years after King David claimed the impenetrable fortress as Jebus, and he renamed it Jerusalem. We talked about that back when we did the King David series. King David was founding a whole new nation, and he needed a stronghold to make the new center. And so he found the biggest, strongest castle, the biggest fortress, and he took it. He renamed it Jerusalem, and it became the capital of Israel. So 300 years later, after David's gone, after Solomon is gone, there was a conquest by an Assyrian leader. His name was Sennacherib, and he was out to take back the world. And he had an army of 200,000 soldiers. Now, as a comparison, when King David took Israel 300 years earlier, he only had about 30 to 35,000. So here comes the Assyrian leader Sennacherib with 200,000 men. And he conquered. Everywhere he went, he crushed any opposition, defied whatever gods they served. He just crushed it. There was nothing that could stop him. Until he came to Jerusalem. Now, mind you, Jebus had big, strong walls. It was already a stronghold. No one could take it, except David. So when Sennacherib shows up with 200,000 men, he sets up for a siege. He starts building battering rams and siege towers, ladders to climb up and in. And Jerusalem was ruled by a king, Hezekiah. Now, obviously, he's a little nervous because there is an army, a conquering force that has been traveling his nation, crushing everyone's way, and now they're at his front door. And they're mocking him. And they're mocking his God. They are telling the people, yelling through the walls, don't listen to your king. He can't protect you. Your God can't protect you. We're going to destroy you. So Hezekiah, he does what any good God-fearing king would do. He asks the prophets, what does God say we should do? And he prays. And the prophets say, they go and they talk with God, and God sends them a message. And God tells them, don't be afraid. Stand strong in your faith. Don't even bother talking to these heathens. Not one of them will set foot inside the city of Jerusalem. So instead of preparing defenses for this siege, King Hezekiah prays. And he brings the people to the temple and he tells them, don't worry. God will protect us. And he did. As the Assyrian army prepared to attack, the people of Jerusalem prayed, and God answered. And at night, God sent one angel into the Assyrian camp. Now, it doesn't describe it. I wish it did, because, I want to picture this in my head. I want to see it. It just says that God sent an angel into the Assyrian camp. It doesn't say if there was a battle. It doesn't say what happened. It doesn't say if they just all slept through it. But come morning, 185,000 soldiers were dead. Before the sun rose, one angel killed 185,000 soldiers. So when Sennacherib woke up and finds almost his entire army dead, they struck camp and they fled. Turns out that the God of Israel is real. And he is not mocked. So if I were to try and make a comparison, what was your worst day? On the days that, looking at myself in the camera, what was your worst day? Because although I've had some bad days, I have never had 200,000 people coming to kill me, destroy, or take everything that I love and own. And what does God say to do? Pray. Be strong in your faith. Don't be afraid of what's on the other side of those castle walls. Because all it takes is for God to send one angel. And that got me wondering, would he do it? Would God send an angel? When I need him? So I went to the Bible. For he will command his angels concerning you to guard you in all your ways. For it is written, he will command his angels concerning you to guard you. The angel of the Lord encamps around those who fear him and delivers them. My God sent his angels to shut the lion's mouth, and they have not harmed me, because I was found blameless before him, and also before you, O king. I have done no harm. Behold, I send an angel before you to guard you on your way, and to bring you to a place that I have prepared. And the verses go on and on and on. See, God just doesn't have one angel that he sends out. He has an army. And if it only took one angel to defend Jerusalem from an army of 200,000 men, imagine what all of these angels can do for you. Imagine what they could protect us from. Imagine all the things they're already protecting us from that we don't even realize. Because while I'm stuck here in this little bubble, looking at all the things that can ruin my day, I don't realize all of the times that God has sent angels to save me from the things I didn't even see. So what does he ask of me? To be strong in my faith. To trust him. Last week we talked about how we need to do our best to follow the path that Jesus guides us on. Because God has our back and is watching over us. And maybe it's time that I stop letting my mind wander. I stop pulling myself away from the path that the Lord has set before me. I man up. I mentally prepare. Because although I am weak and I struggle, with the Lord leading me, God's got my back, and he has an army of angels ready to deploy to protect me. If I really need God, he's got my back. So you know what, devil? You want to play like that? Fine. Bring the war. I'm ready to fight.
Three, two, one. Now let me hear you say